पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी के प्लेसमेंट्स का कोई रिप्लेसमेंट नहीं, इसलिए टॉप कंपनीज की फर्स्ट चॉइस। आप तो समझ ही गए होंगे। जॉइन पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी, वडोदरा, गुजरात।
We take you straight to Ottawa, where Canada has spoken, and the message is clear but complicated. The Liberals, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, have secured a victory in the federal elections, but it is not the resounding mandate they had hoped for. This is not a majority government. This is a minority rule, and with that comes compromise, negotiation, and the very real possibility of instability. So what does this mean for Canada's future, and what lies ahead of the country's new political capital? Let's begin with what we know. Shortly after polls closed across the country, Canadian media declared the Liberals the winners of the election. Carney's party crossed the threshold to form government, but they fell short of the magic number, 172 seats, the number needed for a majority in the House. Instead, as the CBC projected, the Liberals will now govern with a minority, falling just 3 seats short of a majority. And while that may seem like a small gap on paper, politically it's a significant one. Without majority control, every piece of legislation, every budget, and every vote of confidence will require support from rival parties. So who holds the balance of power now? Enter the NDP and the Bloc Quebecois, kingmakers in the minority parliament. Bloc leader Blanchet has already extended what he calls a truce, signaling a period of collaboration might be possible. But he also made it clear that cooperation will likely last just over a year after that. All bets are off. Let's now turn our focus to the man at the center of this political shift, Mark Carney. He's a name you have likely heard more in financial circles than in political ones. A former central banker with global credentials, Carney only took over the Liberal Party leadership 2 months ago, replacing Justin Trudeau. And now he is Canada's Prime Minister. In his victory speech, Carney did not waste time laying out his posture. He accused the United States of trying to break Canada and vowed to stand firm in upcoming negotiations with US President Donald Trump. Let's be clear, this will define the early days of his leadership. One of Carney's first major challenges will be trade and security negotiations with the United States. Negotiations he and Trump agreed to begin immediately after the election. With Trump back in the White House, the stakes are high, and so are the tensions between United States and Canada. Carney also campaigned on a promise of economic stability and energy reform. Expect the new government to move quickly on key initiatives, including tax cuts for middle and lower income Canadians. But perhaps most ambitiously, the Liberals aim to transform Canada into a clean and conventional energy superpower, a bold promise. But without a majority, it's one that will depend on cooperation in the parliament to become reality. The Liberals have also earmarked 5 billion Canadian dollars for trade diversification, money that could be critical as Canada attempts to reduce its reliance on American markets amid protectionist headwinds from Washington. And here is where it starts to affect India. Canada remains an important economic partner for India. A shift toward trade diversification could open door to deeper economic ties with India, especially in sectors like pharmaceuticals, green tech, and digital services. And with Mark Carney in power, bilateral ties between India and Canada are expected to make a shift. Carney has reiterated again and again his vision to mend ties with India. With a minority government dependent on opposition, its cooperation, policy changes may slow down or get diluted. Immigration policy, another area of keen interest to India, may also evolve cautiously. Canada's current system, which sees tens of thousands of Indian students and skilled workers migrate each year, could see tweaks depending on parliamentary consensus. So what will life under this minority government look like in Canada? In the short term, stability is likely, especially if opposition parties opt to work together in the name of national interest. But make no mistake, minority governments are fragile. Any major misstep, any loss of vote of confidence could send Canadians back to the polls sooner than expected. Parliament will reconvene soon with the swearing in of the new members, the election of a new speaker, and a speech from the throne, where Carney's government will formally outline its agenda. That speech will be the first test of whether the Liberals can command enough to support the government. And what about the opposition? The Conservatives, under Pierre Poilievre, put up a fierce fight, capturing around 41% of the national vote, the party's best showing in decades. So what happens now? Carney will remain the Prime Minister. He does not need to be re-sworn in. His cabinet remains intact for now, though there may or may not be a reshuffle on the cards. He will take Canada into the G7 summit this very June in Alberta as a host, a major diplomatic movement that will demand unity and vision from government that lacks a clear mandate in the parliament. What Canada has today is not a divided country, but a demanding one. A country that chose a new leader but also chose balance. Mark Carney now faces the tough task of governing with humility, building bridges in Parliament, and delivering on promises made without the brute force of a majority rule. It's the kind of leadership that will require not just boldness, but a lot of diplomacy. Not just vision, but consensus. And as the world watches Canada turn a page, the next chapter will depend on not just on who won, but on who's willing to work together.